Hello, Home Slices. This is Kiara with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with my review for The Photograph, which is starring Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. So before I get into my review, I want to say that yes, I have been on hiatus. No, this does not mean the hiatus is over. I just thought that this particular movie was too culturally significant and that I had a unique opinion on it that I decided to do a video. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, last week The Photograph came out in theaters. It is a love story written by a black woman. Apparently it's directed by a black woman, and it is starring almost all black characters. So to me, I have made a conscious effort over probably the past year to put my black dollars into black pockets and black bank accounts. So I am trying to spend my money and keep it inside of the community. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely important to me to support this movie. I'm a big fan of Issa Rae. I found her web series Awkward Black Girl back when I was like a junior in college, which was probably 2011 or 12 when she had her, Awkward Black Girl series on YouTube, and I have loved her ever since and followed her career ever since. So I'm super happy for her glow up. Everybody loves Insecure. Insecure is a great show. I'm a big fan of hers. So I'm going to start off by saying that. So this review is going to be full of spoilers. So I'm going to count to 5. And after that, I'm going to dive into spoiling this movie for people. So if you don't want the movie to be spoiled, I suggest you click off this video in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's start off with the things that I really liked about this movie. So I love that the characters are black. It is... First off, I don't really watch a lot of romantic movies. If I do, they're probably romantic comedies. And a lot of them don't necessarily feature black characters or are directed by black people. So to me, it's like not something that I normally would watch. But again, I'm trying to, be better about supporting black businesses and black creators and stuff like that. So anyways, I do like that element of it. I think it's culturally significant for us to have a love story. And one of the things that was brought up in a different review that I watched is that this felt like a romantic movie where the characters just happen to be black. And that if you switch out the characters for maybe white characters or Asian characters, that it would translate just as well. And that I actually agree with. I do think that it is just a story and you can plug in anybody of any race, mixed race, and it would still apply. So I like that there is none of these like tropes or stereotypes that are necessarily in the movie. To me, it felt like a happy, light-hearted version of Queen and Slim with no police officer pulling them over and getting rough with them and running from the law, like the antithesis of Queen and Slim. And these people living, happily ever after, okay? So anyways, I also think, I wrote a few notes down, y'all. One of the highlights of the movie was that it was great music. One of the things that my fiance pointed out while we were watching the movie on Valentine's Day, I think we watched it on Valentine's Day, was that the music was good. I knew almost every song, which was different for me, or I could recognize every artist. And they would go back and forth between the present with Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield, and then go back into the past tense with Issa's mom and her love interest or whatever. And I felt like whenever they went back in time to tell the story of her mother and her love interest, that the music was too old. That I wasn't around in the 80s. I was born in the early 90s, and so like when it comes to the timing of music and when music came out, I'm a little fuzzier on stuff that happened before I was born. But for whatever reason, the old music, the music that they were playing when it was supposed to be like the mid 80s, felt like the music had maybe come out even earlier than that. And not to say that they weren't listening to oldies, it's just that it kind of threw off the time space continuum or whatever. So the music was great, but something about it felt like, even in the flashbacks, that the music was older than it was supposed to be. But anyways, I thought that it was a good storyline and a good premise overall. Once again, I do think that it translates between races or whatever. And I think that the big overall message came across very clear of like, don't waste opportunities. Don't allow the people you love to get away because you're, being stubborn, or you're stuck where you are, or, anything along those lines. So let's get into the negative. So I do think there were a lot of positive things about the movie, but overall, I would not watch this movie over again. And one of the things that about movies that kind of makes them classics for me is like, if I'm able to relate to the movie, and if it has some type of element of like rewatchability, like if it's super funny, like Friday is a classic because you can rewatch it and either get the feeling of nostalgia or have a great laugh or whatever. And there are other movies like that for me, and this movie was not one of them. I think that the biggest disappointment about this movie was that Issa Rae's acting skills as a straight woman, and not straight like heterosexual, but as not as someone who plays up to their funny side, which is something that she does in a lot of her stuff because she is a very funny woman, was not believable to me. There was a part of the movie where she was crying after she had read, the end of her mother's letter, right? After she had read the end of her mother's letter, she was crying, and it was like obvious that it wasn't real. Like it was obvious that she was fake crying. And it just didn't come across as believable to me at that point. The other issue that I have is that Lakeith Stanfield is a great actor. He's one of those people that he's attractive, like a very attractive man, but there's something about him that's mysterious that makes him more attractive. And I think that he's a great actor. And I think that because he is a great actor, and Issa did not do a good job, according to the way I would have liked to see, like a more experienced actress or an actress who has more range. I think that he outacted her, and that Lakeith Stanfield's acting and her inability to have enough range to express all the emotions of this character without it feeling forced, really created this mismatch for me. And it's like, like I want to like this movie more, but it might have been better if Issa Rae's character was played by a actress who had a little bit more range or more experience doing like a plethora of movies. Because I really liked the actress who played Issa Rae's mother in the movie, and I think that of everyone, Issa Rae came across as the person who didn't fit in acting wise, and that really bothers me to say that because I love Issa Rae, but when she's in Insecure, it's like she's playing herself. I've had a hard time seeing her step outside of herself. There were like funny moments where she would play it up or whatever, and of course she looked beautiful in the film. I don't have anything to say about her looks wise, but her acting chops were not up to snuff for me, and that really stop me from liking the movie the way that I wanted to like the movie. I feel happy and content in knowing that I gave my black dollars to black creators and black actors and whatnot. And I do not regret going to see the movie. I think it was enjoyable enough in the moment, but would I buy it? Like, would I buy it or rewatch it? No. And I feel weird saying that because, like, of course I'm all for black people and doing all the things that they, are trying to do or want to do. And I think that the story was great. And I just, like, the acting is really what messed it up for me. And I don't think Issa had the chops at this point in time to pull off the character. And that creates, like, this really big, like, kind of doubt in my mind about the film. But Lil Rel did a great job in the film. I enjoyed the little girls in the film. I enjoyed the little moments of I enjoyed the element of the storytelling. And I think another part of it was that I really couldn't identify with the story. Like, the relationship that I have with my mother is not cold and distant. And I don't necessarily suffer from abandonment issues, so it was not very relatable to me, which is fine. I don't relate to the characters in Friday, but I'll still watch it, because it's a classic. So at the end of the day, if I had to give the movie a grade, I would give it a C+. Yeah, I'd give it a C+. So let me know what you thought about the movie. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think that Issa Rae's acting was just fine or superb? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe you don't have to subscribe because, once again, I'm not going to be on here regularly and whatnot. But the more the merrier, right? Thanks for watching. Peace out, Home Slices.